Well, what began as protests on the streets of Bangladesh has descended into raw, unchecked violence. Overnight, radicalized mobs are roaming freely, attacking media houses, silencing journalists, and turning on minorities. And in the middle of this chaos, one man paid with his life, Dipu Chandra Das. Dipu was a 30-year-old Hindu garment worker from Mymensingh. He was not part of any protest, yet mobs singled him out, beat him up repeatedly, stomped on his chest and killed him simply because of his faith. The brutality did not end there. His body was stripped, tied to a tree, paraded like a trophy and then set on fire as the violence of the protest spiraled completely out of control. This is what these protests have become, not demands for justice but a license for mob rule. Dipu Chandra Das stands as the most chilling symbol of that descent. The Hindu community is facing a wave of violence they did nothing to provoke, and things are only getting worse. With the military standing by and the government failing to speak out, the rule of law has been replaced by uncertainty. It makes us question, is Bangladesh sliding into a state of anarchy? If so, what immediate measures should be taken to protect a community that now fears for its life every single day? Let's talk about that with our guest. Joining us on the show is Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, former diplomat, Major General Sudhakarji, senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert, also with us on the show. Major General Dhruv Katoch, senior defense expert, joins us. He's the director of the India Foundation as well. Last but by no means the least, Mr. Pathakrit Pine, foreign affairs expert, is with us on the program as well. General Katoch, I'll begin with you. Well, it can be easily said at this point in time that nobody is running Bangladesh. In fact, nobody has been running Bangladesh ever since Sheikh Hasina fled the country. But things would get to this is something which, we did not fathom. And of course, whatever is happening to the Hindu community, whatever is happening to these journalists, whatever, random acts of violence that are being perpetrated in the name of injustice to Bangladesh are all being solicited as well as precipitated by Muhammad Yunus. What should India do at this point in time? Is our stance a little soft? Because, we have responded diplomatically, we have summoned envoys to the Ministry of External Affairs, but it's really time, General Katoch, that we flex some muscles in front of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Vineet. Vineet, I think what is happening in Bangladesh and what has happened in Bangladesh ever since Sheikh Hasina was ousted is a very, very sad state of affairs, and it is a matter of shame. Here was a country which came into existence to protect its civilization, its culture, and its language. And those very same people are now destroying all three. What can India do? Sometimes when people are prepared to set fire to their own house, the neighbors have a very, very difficult time trying to stop them committing suicide. What is happening in Bangladesh is simply a power grab by Yunus, facilitated by the United States, one. And number two, a power grab now by the Jamaat-e-Islami to impose Sharia law or an Islamic state-like ideology over this country. I think India's options as of now are very limited. We perhaps had an option very, very early when Sheikh Hasina was ousted. And that time, I think, along with the Americans, we could have done something. But now too much time has passed. I think we just have to, as of now, the way I see it, we have to see how the situation further develops. But at the same time, I think, and a warning has already been given to the High Commissioner when he was summoned to the Ministry of External Affairs. But I think it should be made very clear to Yunus that if he doesn't stop all this, then India is going to intervene. And I think that, though that appears to be a very strong option, I think that option must be made very clear to Muhammad Yunus. If you cannot stop the ruckus which has been created and the sheer abrogation of rights, of press freedom, of humans, of everybody, which is being trampled upon by the Islamists, if you cannot stop it, Yunus will be told, then we will. That was the message which Indira Gandhi incidentally gave to the US president when we went in for Bangladesh. I think this is the message we need to give to them now. Behave, sort out your house, or India will be forced to do it. Vineet.
Fair enough, sir. Ambassador Sachdev, is it time that India takes that route? Because obviously, these peripheral calls of maintaining law and order by the government as well as the ministry have not really yielded into anything which is substantial for the Hindu community as well as the overall volatile situation in the country of Bangladesh. Ambassador Sachdev?
Yes. Have you
Go on, sir.
unmuted me? Yeah. Glad to be with you, but the occasion is quite somber. I think it will be what General Katoch has said makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, I think it's not Muhammad Yunus that we should be warning about or collaborating with. We should be talking to the armed forces and the chief of Bangladesh Armed Forces, asking him to intervene and supporting him. I think doing it directly without an international coalition, without UN Security Council resolution, would open us to all sort of windbags talking about India, big brother, once again trying to flex muscles and do things which is not allowed in international law, etc., etc. So the clever way to do it would be to talk to the chief of army staff, who incidentally brought in Muhammad Yunus, and ask him whether his switch from Hasina to Yunus has served any purpose. And if he says no, then we tell him to undo all that has been happening. And that would be the right way to go ahead.
Okay. All right. General Sudhakarji, what are your thoughts on what India can do at this point in time? There is obviously this anti-India lobby in Bangladesh, and that anti-India lobby has been able to percolate this hatred towards India in the youth of Bangladesh as well. It obviously has its backers in other parts of the world as well, including Pakistan. What kind of a convoluted and complex situation is this, and how should India deal with it? General Sudhakarji?
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Now you are, sir.
Okay. Good evening, Vinit. Thank you for getting me for your show, and my compliments to very distinguished and esteemed co-panelists. As regards the question, situation is very tense and volatile, and there is every Indian would feel like impulsively give a hard-hitting blow to Bangladesh, but that is not the answer. We need to understand what is the actual problem. Is Yunus the problem, or is the Dipu Das that you mentioned is the problem? Because time has come, in my opinion, we need to understand the bigger game which is going on. The bigger game is, if we join the dots, Pakistan has found another launch pad in the eastern side towards India, and to launch its activities, retaining the factor of deniability to large an extent. But is Pakistan capable all by itself? Answer is no. So who is it that with the support of which Pakistan is able to extend its nefarious design? Obviously goes without saying the deep state of America, USA also officially going by the NSS, National Security Strategy. It doesn't. It is indicative. Tulsi Gabbard few days back gave a statement that America is withdrawing from all regime change activities. These are all hogwash. This is no superpower would ever like to lose its supremacy and authority of being a superpower. America is no exception, no matter what they say. The national security strategy says that they will be reducing their activities as far as maintaining the dominance is concerned. That's all hogwash. They will continue Monroe Doctrine or no Monroe Doctrine. They will continue to destabilize India with a larger game. What is the larger game? The larger game is, as per my understanding, to draw India into or kind of a long drawn conflict, something like Ukraine and Russia, or something like in Middle East, so that it is bled to death. Our economy comes to a stagnating or maybe a regressive kind of a growth roadmap, and thereby preventing India from becoming a second China. Second thing that comes to my mind is how do they do it? They have divided their course of action into short term, medium term, and long term. In short term is what we are witnessing today, which is provoking us enough. My recommendation through your channel is wait and watch. Please don't do anything. Deploy all your reconnaissance, intelligence, and surveillance platforms and elements in and around Bangladesh so as to acquire actionable intelligence and provide them to the requisite command, control, coordination center. Be ready to press the button keep mindful of the fact that our strategic doctrine has shifted from restraint to reciprocal risk. In reciprocal risk, we have to dominate the escalatory matrix with very clear entry and exit point. They want India to get into a kind of a conflict, unending conflict, thereby bleeding our economy, thereby preventing us becoming one of the global powers by 2047. And last but not the least, let me also forewarn the United Front Works Department of China. It was created way back in 1922-23, and the same United Front Works Department, it has been rejuvenated consequent to abrogation of Article 370 and 35 Alpha on 5th of August 2019. The funding has increased. Their job is to manipulate our political leadership. Their job is to carry out successful and effective influence operation. Their job is to change the narrative in our media houses, which they claim they have significantly achieved a very high percentage of penetration. The job is to dominate our social media platform by left, right, center. And also their aim, one of the aims, as per my open source reading, is to make sure that the current political dispensation and the stable political leadership that India has should be made vulnerable by some means or other within a foreseeable future. Maybe a no confidence motion time and again repeatedly will be imposed on the dispensation today, and some of the political members or the member of parliaments, they may come under the factor of influence, thereby making the leadership and the majority in the floor of the house untenable. Last but not the least, Vinit, is that if push comes to shove, if nothing works out, then perhaps one of the objectives they'll be looking for is a change of regime, which is not going to be either accepted or it will not be welcome in India's context. India is fully prepared. The armed forces is ready. Like yesterday in your program, I had said that there are 3 military stations which have come up. It is already there in the open domain. Lachit, Borfukan near Dhubri, Kishanganj, Bihar, Chopra, West Bengal. They are not there for picnicking. They are there to provide launch pads for launching of multi-domain operations. Multiple kinds of platforms are being established there. We have significant capability. We have the capability to identify the red lines, identify the contingencies, and also evolve a kind of a course of action, non-kinetic, hybrid, irregular method, and
Okay.
also
All right, sir.
a kind
All
of
right, sir.
competent.
Let me bring in Pathikrit into this conversation as well. Pathikrit, what do you think is driving this anti-India narrative? What is fueling this hatred in the youth of Bangladesh towards India?
Well, this is being orchestrated. This is a controlled, orchestrated chaos that is going on. And let me put it this way, that from 1971 onwards, after the war, where the Indian armed forces played a stupendous role and highest of respect for them. Unfortunately, from 1971 onwards, India literally stopped cultivating the narrative in Bangladesh, and Pakistan kept on cultivating that narrative. So what you see today simmering in terms of anti-India rhetoric being amplified, it's not something Pakistan started yesterday. They have been investing on it for almost 40 years now, while we were only in a celebratory mood for 1971 victory. That's it. And that's a reality That is something with the highest of respect, our policymakers, our diplomats must introspect as to why we actually let off go the entire narrative building in Bangladesh. Number two, what is important is to understand is that over the last 16 months, Yunus government actually has lost the political grip within Bangladesh. There is a high level of disillusionment. In the last 16 months, you have only seen industry getting closed down, infrastructure being burned down, and there is absolute chaos within the country. Today, the reason why the army is there is because the police system has collapsed. So you always require an enemy to galvanize your own people and create that rhetoric. So this guy Osman Hadi, had there been actual risk on his life, he should have been given, security. He was not given. There were ample opportunity for this administration to get hold of those who killed him, but nothing was done. And then a narrative was built that he has fled to India. They are building this narrative on the pretext that Sheikh Hasina is in India and that a lot of Awami League supporters and workers are in India. But let me tell you, twice or thrice the number of Awami League supporters and workers who are in India are basically in United States. They will still not make a single statement against United States or United Kingdom because the money flow perhaps is coming from there. So what you saw yesterday in terms of this organized violence and happening across multiple cities, they exactly know which cultural center to be burned down, which media center to be burned down. Somebody behind the fracas is actually working. There are invisible hands who are orchestrating this, the mayhem that is happening on the ground, and it requires enormous amount of money for mobilizing the crowd. So it is being done deliberately. The distinguished panelists did mention rightly, they want India to provoke, to retaliate, so that becomes a pretext for a larger game against India. But let me say one thing very clearly, what is happening in Bangladesh is not going to get restricted in Bangladesh alone. There can be a dangerous spillover impact of it. They have been saying it, we will break Seven Sisters. So fortification is definitely happening, no doubt about that. Whether it is Northeast or West Bengal or other states, I think the state governments must have to be taken into confidence and being told that be very careful about this. This is a national security issue. No amount of sympathy or any kind of soft statement is going to be entertained. That is very, very important right now. I think we need to be prepared not for what is happening within Bangladesh, but the spillover impact, because these elements who are doing whatever they're doing inside Bangladesh, their next target will be invariably Northeast and Bengal and Bihar. Look at the map they have been propagating, the greater Bangladesh, which includes West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, and the whole of Northeast. And let me say last thing, they are not saying these are not delusional entirely, because for the last 30-40 years, a systematic demographic shift actually took place in many of these places of Northeast and Bengal and Bihar, deliberately done from Bangladesh orchestrated by invisible hands. So we have to be very careful about what is happening, but it is very true. You know, the government of India extended the Citizenship Amendment Act up till 2024. The deadline, cutoff line was 2024. The only thing India can do is to allow the Hindus to come this side.
Absolutely.
If right now India sends army
You made some valid points,
them,
Pathikrit.
it's not going to help them.
You made some valid points. Appreciate it. We've run out of time, but would like to thank and express gratitude to everyone who came on and gave their unique perspective. We take a short break now. We'll be right back.